Most of you may have known by now that for the past few days here in Southern California, we've had wildfires break out across the mountain regions of this county, and it's very depressing to see people lose their homes, even though there's not been a big tragic loss of life. And I pray that families and friends who are affected by that or by this whole firestorm will find safety, and even though they may have lost their homes, at least they'll still have each other. And I know it's always customary to say that, but I mean, really, what else can you say, right? You know that things will always be revealed as in material things, but human life, well, you only got one shot at this life, and you lose that, then it's just too bad. It's unfortunate, but that's why I guess I'm bringing this up now, is because there's been a lot of stories of the celebrities who have lost their homes, right? I looked at a list and like 20 celebrities, people who you may have seen on movies and television, who just seemingly cried for help and cried for a community to come together and support each other by helping each other out. And when I see people who look at a list like that, they're not showing empathy. They're in fact cheering that these people who are in the profession that serves to entertain you and I are lost their homes. And I think that's really, to a wider scope, if you think about it, it's all loss of empathy, all loss of taking ourselves out of the equation and just hoping for the best of someone else. We haven't had that in quite a few years, and you can name of factors that have caused this, right? From our politics to our social standing to everything. So I would suggest to everyone, even though I think that would be pretty much impossible at this point, that we just start showing empathy a little bit, be a little more empathetic towards these individuals who have lost their homes, lost property, and just put ourselves in the same shoes. What if that was us? What if we had a home like that in the mountains, or in an area where it's away from the city, and we thought that was the area that we enjoyed our privacy, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, it's gone, right? How would we feel? How would we react? How would we want people to feel? You know? I don't think people are doing that quite these days, because again, it's all about, haha, got one on you since a celebrity. You know? Not sure I would feel happy about that. Look, consider this. You're a person, and you are in a field which serves to entertain people, but at the same time helps you create a living for yourself, to where you live again in a place that's outside the city, lots of land, lots of area to cover, and really just enjoy, right? And even if you're not a celebrity, let's say you're working in a field that earns you enough money to live in an area like that, and you have your dream house, and there's everything you ever asked for, and then because you live in the area that you live in, an occurrence like this wildfire accompanied by high winds just happens to blow over your house, and all of a sudden it's gone. Everything you ever worked for is lost, right? And even though it's material possessions, which may or may not be gained again due to the life and the work that you've done to put into achieving that, it's easy for us to say, well, you have your life, and it is. But at the same time, those material possessions that you gain and that life that you've built in that area has changed tremendously, and you'll never get that back. Maybe you get some help from the city, the county, or your insurance company. Maybe you'll get help from those entities, but at the same time, you can't help but feel the loss. You can't help but feel the shock of it all, and when it's all lost and gone, right? And that's what you have to say. Look, put yourselves in those shoes. What happens if it happened to you? Be a little bit more empathetic to the people that have lost their property. Of course, this happened in my little stretch of the woods in South Los Angeles. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but you know what happened. If you lived here long enough, you know what happened. And yes, no one was empathetic when storefronts were burning all around my neighborhood, and there was no sign, at least from that day, if it would ever stop, because it just seemed to be going on and on. And you watched how national media covered our tale, and that it was just outrageous, right? Now, the fires happened under a much different circumstance that people will always judge for. But I would just say, when it happens to everyone in different circumstances. But people are not empathetic to the people who are caught up in all that. They're not empathetic to the people who have lost property, and hopefully not lives, but we'll see. We don't take ourselves out of the equation now. This medium and this whole era of tech just puts us in the driver's seat of our own feelings, our own emotions, without considering the needs of anyone else, without considering that someone else may be going through the same problems that you are going through, or not. So these instruments take us away from the humane aspect of our lives. We're no longer human. We're transformed into the cold, heartless machinery that we use every single day and comment on in occurrences like the fires here in Southern California. With a click of a button, the twist of a dial, the movement of a mouse, you can express your disgust, your hatred towards these celebrities who've lost their homes, who don't want to hear the vitriol from you right now, who really could. They're not interested in that right now because they're too busy grieving over what they've lost. And here comes an ill-timed post that expresses much about you and your character than about them, the people that you're trying to troll or clown or whatever. And that's in any circumstance. It doesn't take a tragedy to reveal that part of it. But when something like this happens, when people lose their homes and their lives, and we kind of say like they deserve it. Like I'm sure there are a number of other users who saying all the celebrities lost their homes because they deserved it. Deserve what? Deserve to be involved in something that happens on occasion, and even though that they're safe where they were before all this happened, they moved to an area, they had the freedom to move into an area they felt that would give them peace and quiet and privacy that they needed, and then in the blink of an eye they lost their homes. We're not supposed to feel any kind of way about that? I don't know. I know we started a new year, and I have serious doubts if we're ever going to make it through this year. because of our biases, our tribes together, and the vitriol that we spew at each other. And it's not just confined to this medium. It's really face to face too. We have to be more empathetic towards each other. We have to understand that, look, if I suffer, you suffer as well. But people don't see through those lenses. They rather see it through their own lens or the camera that's staring back at me, filming all this as I'm talking to you. We want to see the world as we would like to see it. And this is why this nation and our very lives will be affected, because we're not empathetic. But that's also another tale for another day, or another video essay for another day. What matters now to those individuals who you see on camera and they're weeping, they're crying because the fires are affecting them, they're changing their lives as they speak to a reporter who's holding a microphone, have to go into these areas and cover what is happening all around that area. This is truly a heartbreaking time. I mean, even around the city, I can't step outside without a mask now. A repeat of 2020 to 2019 to 2023 of wearing that mask over my face because of the ashes. One time, as I recalled, I tried to do that, and I was, I wasn't as brave as I was, as smart as I thought I was because I had respiratory problems for a while, but it cleared up once I got that ash out of me. So again, just because it's here in Southern California, even though we don't live in those areas, it still affects us as far as the air quality, as far as everything else in the air around us that we need to be careful for. So yes, can you imagine if you happen to be in the area right now, what's happening to those individuals? Not a pretty sight. So I guess I close by making my appeal for us to be empathetic at this time. And if you understand that life is but a vapor and these things are going to happen to you, to all of us, then we should be considerate to the point that, hey, look, I'm not going to call this celebrity, I'm not going to call this person who had a good paying job and he lost their home. I'm going to just chill and let everything work itself out. Of course, that can't say you cannot comment on what's happening around us here in Southern California, but just try to be a little bit more empathetic towards people that we don't know and who would never know us. And maybe somehow when it's our turn, we'll receive the same empathy in return. Just something to think about. I'm sorry, I had an interruption by my mother for a minute. So I was just closing up saying, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe or even like this video or any other video in the past or present that I've created on this channel. And if you want to click up top to the banner to see what I'm doing personally and my artistic side, you're more than welcome to check that out. But I do want to wish each and every one of you the best, including those of you living in Southern California. I know that you're going through a rough time right now, but just hang in there. Pray if you have to. Pray for the people whose lives have been affected by these fires all around us. And just know that it'll be all taken care of in the end. That's all I have to do. I thank you for your time. I thank you for watching this, and please always stay safe. And always in closing, I like to say, take care.